Hello. This is an absolute honor. I have known Hamad Kayote Alabi for a good 3 years, and he has been a person that has truly inspired me. I felt many times like he was my brother. And what you do, Hamad, is you inspire people to take action and pursue their African dream. A that is that is such an exception in our world. It's 1 in 3 million that can accomplish what you've done and maybe even more. So I'm going to ask you, what age did your dreams start?
Mm. Yeah, thanks for asking that question. And like I would say that it's a journey, and it comes from my own personal story and personal experience, and my interaction with the environment that I live in and that I was raised in. So yeah, I would probably say when I was 14 years old, and the reason why I chose that particular age is because of my experience with an opportunity that I encountered then. I was born and raised in the slum, Makoko, and after a while, I lost my mom when I was 7, and my dad also at some point became unemployed. So it really became difficult living at the point in time. And so there was a program organized for vulnerable children in my community at that time. And so it was a program organized by a foundation, MTN Foundation. And we attended a camp where I get to learn about leadership, self-esteem, and HIV and AIDS. So I was just learning and soaking things in the camp. So one of the things that inspired me in the camp was like one of the facilitators said something, and he said that self-esteem is the way you see yourself and the way you see the world. And he also said self-esteem is the way you handle yourself and the way you handle the world. And more or less like you decide what you want or you decide what you want to be. And when I was walking around my environment at that point, because at some point I was walking in the streets as well. So whenever I walk around, I saw children whose condition were worse than mine. And aside that, I also saw people like I was seeing people that was looking up to, like the uncles in my community and all. And I said, I don't want my life to end this way. I want to be better. I want to do something. So there's that personal desire to want to be a better person. And for me, there's no way to do that than just giving back or helping people. So I could recall what I learned on the camp at that time. When I learned about HIV and AIDS, I started advocacy around that. So whenever I go for events, I want to talk about HIV and AIDS. So when people say, "Oh, who wants to say something about anything?" I'm going to raise up my hand, even if it doesn't make sense. I'm just gonna like I want to teach people. I want to teach people what I know or what I have done or what I have learned. So it was just me driving this passion of what I know, what I have learned. And based on my own circumstances and based on my own experience, I felt like I had the power to change something or to change my community. And after
Ahmed, though, you came out of the slum and you were doing this in what you call the slum of Africa, and still there was such a drive in you to give and change, radically change your environment for other people, not for yourself, but other people.
mm, yeah. So it's more or less like that. Like I used to say that leadership is not about thinking about ourselves, but about thinking about other people. And that was one of those drives at that time or at those moments, right? And that's what made me to like start teaching when I was 15 years. So I would say that was like the major thing I did when I was 15 years. I just graduated from high school, and I started teaching in a basic education school to help children in the community where I was living, which was a rural community in Lagos, to help them develop like basic literacy and numeracy skills that would prepare them for the future or for the future of work. And one of the things that I learned at that time is with access to education, children can change the circumstances they've inherited. Children who have shared similar circumstances as mine, who never had access to probably skills, opportunities, or education. I mean, I was able to have access to education because I had family members who supported me in the process. When we couldn't, my dad couldn't afford education, there were members who were able to support me. And I mean, I was able to access programs and opportunities that helps me to develop as a person. So it's not far-fetched to not give back to the community or to not support
It
other
sounds
young people
it
in the.
sounds like Hamed, you even had to fight for your education. Did you not have to travel and walk a long distance for your education alone?
Yeah, so for me, in terms of my education, I would say that I mean I know so many people because the truth is that Africa is not an homogeneous group. Like it's involved several other countries with young people in different parts who have shared different and diverse experiences in the region. But particularly, this is based on my own experience in a very small area or rural part of Nigeria. And one of the things that I would say is I had the opportunity of family members, I mean, my dad and many people who were willing to like go extra mile. I could recall my dad walking in the streets, selling CDs, this like CDs compact disc, to ensure that I'm able to like access education to pay my school fee, and there were family members such as like my dad and who were willing to like support me in terms of my education, both university and secondary education, which actually gave me that pathway to succeed. But there are many people who never had this kind of support network or support system or family system to support them. Even if I feel like my condition was worse, but there were people whose condition were worse than mine. And there were people who had very, very, really bad circumstances who could not even eat 3 square meals. So I feel like I'm privileged in a way or in a bit to have had people who have supported me in the process, even if I didn't like really, get the best of education, definitely that many people would have gotten. But in the process of like I was able to like at least have the basic education that allows me to succeed and that allowed me to have access to like the maybe secondary and tertiary education, and there were people who were willing to support and sponsor along the line. I understand my own my condition before getting to the university and how I know where I was coming from, and I think that was one of the motivation when I got into the university to actually
Now,
be.
before we get to this university, I would like to interject something because I remember when I wasn't in contact with you and I was very worried and you were very sick. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, you were not stopping when you were very sick. Give us a little bit because this was very serious
Mm.
when you were sick. And it was what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
What what did you come down with? This
yeah,
was malaria. That
yeah,
is serious.
yeah. I mean, like naturally, many people had this, very common in Nigeria or probably in Africa, most especially tropical areas. People come out with disease like malaria, illness like malaria, and typhoid. And as at that time, I was really sick.
But you
I
didn't stop.
yeah, I mean,
You really didn't stop. I mean, you were bedridden, I know, but you did not stop.
yeah. I think that wasn't the first time of me not stopping whenever because there was even a situation in 2017. I really thought I'm gonna die, and that point was a point where I had an operation at that point. So I had like hemorrhage, sort of like internal bleeding, and I was in the hospital at that time. I could recall I was always sharing on my social media. I was writing at that point, but I couldn't even do anything, and I couldn't do any sort of like work or community service or giving back. I was in the hospital. I was thinking that's going to be my last time. And I there was one thing that came to me at that point that even if I had nothing, like I had no energy. In fact, they stopped me from like writing that I shouldn't do anything, like because I could not even really do anything. So I wanted to just give back. I wanted to do something. I didn't even know how. So I told one of my friend that probably should give me my pen and sneak my book where I write my stories, like sneak it and bring it to the hospital.
Yeah, I have some questions about this book because one, ah, Africa, I Dream to See.
Mm,
What a title. It almost brings me to tears. The Africa I Dream to See.
yeah.
Tell us about that dream because I know you're already starting to tell us, but this book, the impact, the little bit I had time to read, it's it's heart crushing and yet very inspiring.
Mm. Yeah, I mean it's more or less like my journey and my dream. I mean, just like every other African child, I want to dream, and there are many children across the region who actually want to dream, but are being affected by a particular circumstance, which is similar to the circumstance that I faced. I mean, when I was growing up, I really want to make things happen. I would go to the back of my house because I was living in the slum, and in the back of our building there was a dump yard, like a dump site where people throw dirt, used stuff and all. And I go to that place and I want to make a car. I want to make things, like I just want to create things and make things happen. There's just that curiosity of wanting to create things. And just like many other African child, I wanted to dream. But sometimes when I probably go to school, it's more or less like, the learning, not the kind of creativity that I wanted. So, um, and for so many people who even had no chance to go to school and they have such creativity, how do we support those kind of children? How do we support them to create things? So the belief I had is that the solutions that of the many of the challenges we are facing on the continent, from lack of access to education to lack of access to quality, good health care, the children in the slums or in rural communities can create solutions to many of those challenges and to those problems, because they have that potential, that potential to create a solution and to create a change, only if those potential are harnessed by ensuring that such children have access to good education. They are able to go to school. In the slum today, probably where I was raised, we have many children who are not going to school, and their potential are being wasted. I mean, it's the responsibility of the government to ensure that some of these children have access to the right education skills to change their circumstances. And it came down to what I said in the second chapter of the book, which is more or less like, before we need to put the people first at the center of every development intervention or every change that we want to create. This is the responsibility of the government or of anybody who is willing to create change. So whether you're government or developmental enthusiast or non-governmental organization or every private individual, and you're willing to create change, there's a need to put the people at the center of creating that change by ensuring that they change the circumstances they've inherited in a way. And so this is more or less like, if you because we still see many of these children whose circumstances have not changed, even despite the
Right.
intervention that are being given to them within the region
But
by
you
maybe.
created these places for children to be educated, and you brought together places for children to be educated. I mean, not only did you write this book, but you have been creating that dream for many people
Hmm.
all along. From how many years now? I mean,
Yeah.
you've done it since you were a teenager.
Yeah, probably as a teenager, it was more or less like, teaching young people probably, and based on the platform that I've had access to, like during my teaching practice in at the university, just helping people to like learn, build communication skills and all, and probably, volunteering for other causes like with the Red Cross. But when it came to like doing the whole work of supporting children in rural communities, it started in 2017 fully when I started my non-profit organization to help children in rural communities develop life and 21st century skills. And one of the projects that I'm so proud of is Key to Rural Boot Camp. So it's like that's what you're talking about. So it's a boot camp where children come together to co-create solutions to their own problems through like design thinking. So we introduce the children to design thinking and they could create solutions to their own problem. And it's so amazing to see what children are creating in rural communities like drainage system, mechanized farms. And these are children that people feel like they can create things, they can make things happen. And it bothered me that if children can attend a 2 days boot camp or a 3 to 5 days boot camp, and they can create things and they can make things happen. They can design things and they go to like 6 years of secondary school and they can create things. Then there's a problem with the educational system in itself. Um, so it boils down to what I mean. So that's one thing that I've been doing to create an alternative sort of like education, form of education to ensure that children can co-create solutions. So, I mean, if I would create a school in the future, like a school that brings students together, it would be more of like a design school where not the conventional school where children can come together to co-create solutions to learn more of like experiential learning in a way. And this would be for like children specifically in rural communities because of the lack of access to those kind of education or because of lack of access to resources that they don't have access to. That's like is something that I would really love to do, and I would I mean aside the boot camp.
You'd love to do. I think you're already doing it. I mean, often you are called a leader, and I've called you a leader, but you are a person that was born with a continual escalating vision, not just for yourself, but you did something for yourself first in order to create this vision for Africa and the children. And for many, this is inspiring, but this is beyond inspiration. You have created stairwells for other people to climb to their own stars for education. The Africa that I dream of, again, is a perfect book title, but it is a statement of who you are and what you are doing. And now you are in the UK, and I've known all along that you have developed every program to be able to, for you to go to school. You have won scholarships after scholarships, after contests after contests. There have been so many challenges in your world, and you have overcome them with tenacity. You never gave up, even when you had malaria. And now you're in the UK working on your master's degree. You're phenomenal. You had a vision and you are determined to live that vision.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, again, it boils down to like the dream and the opportunity to help as many people as I can. I understand that this opportunity that I've gotten, I mean, studying in a UK university through scholarship, it's a privilege that maybe only the few would have access to because I understand that many people would have applied and there are many other people who have that potential in the community where I was raised or probably in my country, but would not have access to this opportunity that I've had access to. So for me, I probably would consider this as a privilege to help more people and to understand that even if this puts me in a place of or in a position of power or in a position of privilege, studying in a UK university, it is an opportunity to ensure that I help many people as possible. I democratize some of these opportunities that I've had access to, or some of these opportunities that I already have, to ensure that I build the knowledge and skills that I can, and to reflect on those skills and knowledge to empower my community, and to support as many people as I can through the knowledge I've built, maybe probably through policy making, because change sometimes will not happen on the micro level. There's also a need of interrelationship within the micro and the macro level. So while there's this, change on a grassroots level, there's also a need for this policies that can actually create this change on a larger scale. I mean, I can organize programs for children in rural community for maybe 100 children or 2,000 or up to like 3 to 4,000 children. But the truth is, there are many children out there who are actually going through challenges in rural communities in terms of access to education opportunities, and many young people who don't have access to opportunities and skills and resources. So by actually building skills that surround policies or in the region, or building sort of like regional expertise, would not only just probably inspire 3,000 I can reach out to 100, but creating policies that would probably inspire hundred of thousands, because with policies you can reach out to more people, you can influence government policies, you can make decisions, you can work with probably organizations that can, uh, I mean, you're bringing that perspective of, you've lived in the marginalized communities, you understand the experiences of the people, and you're not just acting as a voice rather, but you understand these experiences, and it allows you to like push for policies that can change rural communities, or that can change communities in the place where I was raised, and in regions in sub-Saharan Africa as well. So for me, I consider this not for myself, but I consider it as an opportunity to inspire many other young people. I mean, and that's what has driven me to apply, or to continually apply, because I understand that if I get these opportunities, it's not going to affect me, but millions of other young people, or thousands of other young people as well.
You
Who,
understand that you're inspiring more than just young people.
yeah, so
And there is so much in your vision to change policies and how Africa and Nigeria, the government works. And I know you'll be successful. I know the work that you are putting in for this and your past work and the successes you've had, but you're going beyond your own visions. Every time you create another vision, then you have 10 miles down the line, 100 miles down the line of another vision.
mm,
And you, yes, you are wanting to change Africa for the children and the people, but you are also changing the way we look at the world
mm, mm, mm.
and how other people see it.
Yeah. I mean, it also boils down to what Simon Sinek refers to as courage. And today I'm doing this work not because I mean not because I really want to do, but because I've seen people also have done it, and they are changing the world as well. So we draw courage from other people who have had that courage to say that I want to change something so far I'm alive.
Mhm.
And that's one thing that I really want to say, that if I'm doing this, and probably it's just to also give other people the courage that it is possible, that they can do it too. If I can access these opportunities, if I can give back, if I can support people, I mean, it's the courage to say that there's joy in giving back, and I also want to give back too. And if you would ask someone, why do you want to give back, or why do you want to help, or why do you want to support education of children in rural communities, or why do you want to do this work? And they would tell you that because Ahmed has done it, and we also want to do. And when you also ask them to that, oh, why do you want to do this work as well? They would also say that because like somebody did it. So it's more of like it's goes it's there's this effects, that multiplying effects that you see from like giving back and helping people, and how it inspires other people to also want to help, and how it inspire other people to also want to give back. And pertaining to like the vision, I mean, it's not just about creating a new vision. I think the vision still remains the same. I think what changes is the mission. That is the means of achieving the vision at some point in time. And why I say that the vision doesn't change is because, I mean, it has always been my vision right from time to liberate young leaders in underserved communities, or in marginalized communities, in rural communities, because I believe that there are potentials in those places. So, I mean, if there's any work that I am doing today, it's more or less like of empowering young people in those places, or in those communities, to access opportunities, to build them, to build those capable young leaders. So the division would be there, but the mission still remain the same. Maybe it could be through several means. Maybe it could be the project that I'm running through my nonprofit organization. It could be through the book that I am writing. It could be through maybe a position that I got in an international or global nonprofit to work in. It could be through the scholarship opportunities that I've gotten. It could be through maybe some other things. It could be through this kind of conversation that we are having, right? So I mean, so it could be anything. It could, but it's like a work in progress. It's like it's a continuous effort to like saying that this is where I want to go to, this is what I want to achieve, and these are the platforms or mission or places where I can achieve them, and then it shapes concurrently like that. So I think that's something I would rather add and say, yeah.
You leave me speechless.
Thank you.
I am. I've known you for 3 years now, and you've stated to me that you were always grateful to me.
Yeah.
I am more than grateful to you for all that you're doing and what you will do way past my time on this earth. I'm a writer and a speaker, and I'm speechless to you, Ahmed. I can't imagine just spending a day with you and watching you and all that you do and your dreams and how you fulfill them. Because you do. You fulfill them for other people.
I mean, I'm really humbled, and one of the things that I would like to say is that what makes us human is how we see humans in other humans. Like, I once read a quote, and I think I quoted it in my book. I said a person is a person through another person. That we are humans through other people, and it's a concept that I learned recently. It's the concept of interbeing. How the being of we as a person is through the being of other people, and without the being of other people, we wouldn't be what we are or what we become, because the making of a human or the making of a person is through the making of other people. And this reflects through my own story, that it's not just even by my power, because there were people who were willing to give their blood and sweat, to either support my dream, maybe through sponsoring my education, or maybe through people who want to support my cause through volunteering, or maybe through meeting people like you, which happened, on LinkedIn, where we get to like have this conversation. And I mean, today we're having this recording and sharing. I mean, it's interbeing, it's the being of other people. Like it makes other people. So most times people feel like, oh, I can do it alone, but the truth is we can't, because the being of one person, it's transcended to the being of other people, and the making of one person transcended to the making of other people. So in the world where there is this constant push for competition. People are forgetting that there's a need to work together. There's a need for interbeing. There's a need for people to share, to learn from each other, and to support each other, to just give a hand, to other
Yes,
people. And I think that's how the world should be, and that's what connection should be.
I
And
would love to see the world
yeah,
in your eyes.
yeah,
Yes.
and I think that's how it's happening, and that's what have happened. So for me, I would also probably say I would say rather that I'm grateful for the gifts of friendship, for the gifts of connection, for the gifts of interaction, and for the gifts of constant checking up, because I mean it's been 4 years now. I mean, I know within those period there has been ups and downs within those times, and but we still stay connected in a way, and there was growth within those process within those times. So I'm grateful for growth, and I'm grateful for the process. And if there's anything that I've learned in my journey, it's the power of process, and it's the power of being present at whatever I choose to do. Because what I've learned is that being present leads you to another journey that you don't know. Most times people focus on the future without knowing that the future would not come if you're not present. The present leads us to the desired future, and it leads us to that desired state.
Well, now this is our opportunity to share more, to share you more with the world. So this will go up on LinkedIn, it'll go up on YouTube, Facebook. You will have the ability to put it everywhere you wish,
Mm.
all your connections, all your LinkedIn, and of course, your link to the Africa I Dream to see will be the book, the jacket cover will be there, and also the link. Please read it. Please connect with Ahmed. Read his book. It's very inspiring. Every moment of his day is inspiring. I know he needs to leave now because he has more work to do that he's behind. And thank you so much for your time
Mm.
and sharing with us.
Yeah, I am more grateful for the opportunity to share. And thanks for the platform to share and to tell my story and to share my story and my journey. It's something that I do not take for granted, and I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to continue to have conversations. And if there's also another thing I want to be grateful for, Mitchell Ellis, it's the opportunity you gave me to like write on your blog and to share my story. I mean, I could recall these were times that I was looking forward to be heard, but nobody was hearing me.
Now people are, well, I've been hearing you all along, but
So, so
please,
thank
everyone connect with Hamed.
yeah,
Look at his links. This will be on LinkedIn in segments and in full video on YouTube. Thank you very much, Hamed. Thank you.
thank you.